I became a millionaire literally one day before I turned 20, so I can say that I was a millionaire as a teenager for one day. And believe me, I know it still looks like I'm a teenager, but I'm actually 22 years old, and the things that I did as a teenager set me up potentially for the rest of my life. And it's because of those things that I did within my teens that I now make millions of dollars per year. Now, whether you're a teenager or literally any age, I truly believe that these 10 money tips will help you a ton. Now, in this video, I'm gonna be telling you the truth, and sometimes the truth isn't necessarily what you want to hear. And almost every single YouTube video that you watch out there is going to be telling you that the best way to become a millionaire is to invest your money in stocks, in real estate, and while that does work long term, there's absolutely no way that you're going to become a millionaire in your teens by doing those things. And that brings me into tip number one, which is to focus on income. You cannot save your way to becoming a millionaire as a teenager if you're not making a lot of money. And if you make a lot of money, you can both live an epic life and save a ton of money as well. And trust me, I know that feeling of being a teenager and not knowing what I was gonna do with my life. I dreaded hearing my alarm clock go off every single day, being forced to go to school, learn about things that I really didn't want to learn about. And I'm not knocking school whatsoever. I think a lot of the people there have the best intentions for kids, and they really do their best, but I don't think it's a perfect fit for everybody. And just telling you based off of my personal experience, I hated it. And then on top of that, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So here I am having an existential crisis of sorts at only 14 years old. No idea what I was going to do, but what I did see was that there's people on YouTube making millions of dollars, traveling the world, and they're at every age. There was teenagers, there was old people, so this at least opened my mind that something else was possible. And now let me ask you a question. Would you rather make $3,000 per month, live on $2,000 a month, and save $1,000? Or would you rather make $100,000 per month, spend $20,000 and live an epic life, and save $80,000? Now, obviously, everybody's going to choose the second, and I don't blame you, I do as well. But most people don't even realize that that's possible. And you might even be hearing my words right now, not even letting it sink in, that this is a possibility with the tools that you and I have access to online. And obviously, I'm biased because I made this video, but I truly believe that watching videos just like this one are gonna set you up for the long term. So I do think it's a wise investment of your time. And I'm here to tell you that this is possible. And that brings me into tip number two, which is to start an online business. Now, starting a business is not for everybody by any means, but with that being said, if you're here watching this video right now, you're probably the type of person who would benefit from at least considering starting an online business. Now, the next obvious question that tormented me as a teenager was wondering, what kind of business should I start? There was thousands of options out there. I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. Now, check out this video right here to see what is, in my opinion, the smartest way to make $10,000 per month online. Now, basically what I did as a teenager was what I saw other people doing, which was running YouTube channels, but probably not in the way that you think. You see, I ran YouTube channels where I never even showed my face or stepped in front of a camera for a variety of reasons. Number one, I was super awkward. Number two, a lot of the YouTube channels that I watched were people who never even showed their face, doing top 10 lists and stuff like that. And that brings me to tip number three, which is to learn a high income skill. Now, there's a ton of high income skills out there, and let me let you in on a little secret. Almost all of them can work. You're gonna find people succeeding in almost every business model imaginable. But with that all being said, I do think some are smarter than others. And the one that I personally chose as a teenager was running those faceless YouTube channels. These are YouTube channels where you either make the videos or you pay other people to do them for you. Now, since I was a broke teenager, I obviously made them myself in the beginning, recording the voiceovers myself, writing the scripts and editing them together and uploading them online. I basically treated YouTube as a game during this time period, just trying to get incrementally better every single day, making a new video every single day on my channel. And the way it works is you upload those videos to YouTube, you optimize them, and then you make money from ads that YouTube puts on the videos, and you get paid a percentage of that ad revenue. And this is how I got to my first $3,000 per month online at the age of 15, doing all the work myself. And the reason that I consider this a high income skill is because there's leverage. You see, you make the videos one time, and those videos live in perpetuity into the future. So people can literally watch your video 5, 10 years from now, and you'll still be paid from it. In fact, I still make money from videos that I uploaded back when I was just 15. Now, obviously I'm biased. I think YouTube's one of the best high income skills out there that you can learn. And if you do want to learn a little bit more about YouTube, you can check out this video right here, which shows how to do YouTube step by step. It's basically a free course for you. But there's a ton of high income skills out there, and that brings me into tip number 4, which is thinking about the future. You see, many of us fall into predetermined roles that society gives us. And if you don't actively think about your future and your dreams, then you'll most likely fall into helping someone else's dream become a reality. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But if you're watching this video, you're probably a little bit different and you're probably like me. And if you really take the time to think about this, especially as a teenager, you might find that you have your own dreams that you want to make become a reality. And something that helped me a lot as a teenager was imagining my life 10 years from now. What would be the absolute ideal life? And I imagined myself, because I was 15 at the time, at 25 years old, having all of my dreams come true, having bought a submarine, which is one of my biggest dreams, running huge profitable YouTube channels and getting a gold play button for getting over 1 million subscribers from YouTube, which actually did end up happening, and it's right there. Traveling the world, buying a huge house, having great friends and family, and more. So my recommendation is to set aside at least a little bit of time into thinking about what you really want in life. Because a lot of us just go through life doing one task that we're given after the next until eventually we lead a life that we're not completely fulfilled by. So I do recommend thinking about this, especially if you're young, if you're a teenager. This obviously applies at any age. Just think about the ideal life that you want. Take a day, take a couple days to really think about this and write down what you want, because it'll serve you for the rest of your life. Tip number 5 is to teach something. Now, once you learn a high income skill, in addition to actually doing that skill, I also recommend teaching it as soon as possible. Now you might be asking, Matt, what do you mean by teaching it? Well, what I simply mean is recording a course step by step showing exactly how to do what you know how to do. And I recommend just taking a month, recording videos step by step, teaching it everything you know about the skill that you learned. And trust me, this will be the most profitable month of your entire life. You will make money from this if you do this right for years and years into the future. And think about what a course is at the end of the day. A course is just a collection of videos. And can you download a screen recording software just like OBS to record your screen teaching something step by step? Of course you can. And then can you put it up on a platform like Kajabi, integrate it with something like Digistore24 for payment processing, and sell it for $1,000? Of course you can. And this is something you only do once, and this can serve you for the rest of your life. And let's think about this logically now. If you have a course for $1,000 and you sell 1,000 copies of your course, which really isn't too difficult to do if you do it right, then boom, you just made $1 million. Now this, in my opinion, is the quickest and fastest way to $1 million as a teenager, but there's a huge caveat in this, in that you have to know a skill to be able to do this. And that's why I recommend, if you don't already have a skill, to go ahead and learn that skill first, whether it be photo editing, video editing, or something else entirely that you know about that other people want to learn about. And you can literally just search on YouTube to see if other people want to learn about something you already know. And if they do, I highly recommend making a course and then come back to this video once you've made $1 million and say, Matt, thank you. Now, YouTube is how I made my first $1 million, and selling courses is how I made my next 6 million. Now you might be saying, Matt, that's great and all, but as a teenager, do I really have the authority to teach other people something? And that brings me to tip number 6, which is to not let age be a limiting factor. As long as you know 1% more than most people on a given subject, then you can teach it. Now, when I started doing YouTube, when I was 15, I started making $5,000 a month. When I was 16, I started making $9,000 a month, and it gradually went up to the point I'm making $30,000 a month, more than my parents, more than my friends. I had a lot of people asking me to teach them what I knew. So I showed some of them individually, but what I noticed was that there's a cap on my time. I can only show so many people how to do what I know how to do one at a time. And by making a course, I created leverage in that it can sell forever, and I can be teaching people even when I'm sleeping. And the reason I put off making a course or teaching for so long was because I didn't have the biggest YouTube channel on the platform. So I figured, you know what, I'm not qualified to teach this if I'm not running a channel with millions of subscribers and if I'm not as big as PewDiePie, for example. But what I didn't realize was that there's millions of people who know less than me who I can help get to the point where I'm at and beyond. In fact, I've helped some students go past me to the point they're making more money than I am from YouTube. And it's at that point where I don't have anything left to teach them, and they can actually teach me some things then in regards to YouTube. Now, as a teenager, or if you're in your early 20s, we don't have the authority to teach a lot of things in our life, and I fully admit that. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I have life completely figured out. I know for a fact that I could learn a lot about a lot of different subjects from you who's watching this video right now. But my advice is to not let the fact that you don't know everything about every subject stop you from teaching something that you do actually know about. And even if you're not the world's most leading expert on that topic, you can still help people get to the point where you're at and beyond. And now that brings me to another point which I think is insanely important, which is that I get a lot of DMs and emails from people who are teenagers or younger people, and they tell me, Matt, I'm gonna wait till I'm an adult, or I'm gonna wait till this date or that date to start my YouTube channel, start my business. And lo and behold, what usually happens is that date comes and passes and they never start their YouTube channel. And that's totally fine. Everybody can do what they want. I understand priorities change and everything. But that brings me into tip number 7, which is to not fall into the trap of someday. Now, a lot of us say that we want to do things in life, and I know I'm guilty of this, but if we don't actually do them, we might as well not be able to do them at all. And we might like to entertain the thought that I could start a YouTube channel, I could start this business if I really wanted to. But in a lot of ways, I believe that that's our subconscious tricking us into not taking any action at all, because we think that just believing it's possible is enough and we don't have to do anything beyond that. Now, it sucks to admit this, but I've wasted a lot of time in my teenage years especially waiting for the perfect time to start different projects or do what I wanted to do. But let me tell you, the perfect time never comes, and someday never comes. You will never have all the information, and you will never be completely ready to do what you want to do in your life. And at a certain point, you have to say, screw it, I'm taking action right now. I'm gonna start my YouTube channel right now. I'm gonna take action and make my first video, even though it might not be the best. Maybe it is great, maybe it does get millions of views, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a learning point where you get data that you implement later and then you get millions of views. And then before you know it, you have 100,000 subscribers and a thriving business, and you look back at all the other people who are going back and forth, should I start this business or this YouTube channel? Is now the best time to do it? Oh, I've got other obligations, I can't focus on that right now. It's never gonna be a perfect time, and you're never gonna be ready. And what I want this video to be a catalyst for you, no matter what you're thinking about within your life, I think this applies to a lot of things, is for you to go down either one or two paths, but avoid a third path by all means. And that third path to avoid by all means is indecision. I want you to make a decision on something you've been thinking about doing with your life. So this video can actually be practical and help you in your life right now. Take something you've been thinking about doing and spend a couple minutes to an hour thinking about, am I really ever going to do this? And if the answer is no, or if you don't think you are, I would just fully admit to yourself, hey, I'm not gonna do this. Or if it's something you truly want to do, no matter what, please take the first step in making that happen. You'll be happy you did. Life is short, our time here is short. A lot of people let a lot of time go by, myself included, on a lot of stuff that we've always wanted to do. And for a lot of us, that time never comes, and I don't want that to happen to you, especially if there's something important in your life that you want to do. So please, if you're a teenager or any age and you're thinking about doing something that you really want to do it now. And let's say that something that you want to do is to start an online business, for example. And eventually the goal from that online business is to make a bunch of money. And when you do, then that brings me into money tip number 8, which is to reinvest back into your business first. Before you go out there and invest in all the different shiny objects that are out there like stocks, real estate, crypto, my recommendation is to consider investing in what got you that money in the first place. So for me, for example, that meant reinvesting back into my YouTube channels that were actually making me money. And practically how I did this was by hiring people to help make the videos for me, and that's what actually brought me from $3,000 a month to $9,000 per month to, over the next few years, $30,000 per month. But at a certain point, I do recommend diversifying your investments, and that brings me into tip number 9, which is to invest after making lots of money. And the key word here is lots of money. Once you're making $10,000 to $50,000 per month, I personally would consider putting some of that into some investments that you think are good. So for example, for me, that meant putting money into index funds that track the S&P 500, for example, SCHB. And these are just long-term investments that'll grow your wealth long-term, so you'll hopefully outpace inflation and build your wealth for the long term. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take this as financial advice. Take it for what it's worth, but I'm just sharing what I'm personally doing. Tip number 10 is to remember that it's never too late. All this advice that I'm giving you applies if you're 15 years old or 115 years old. I believe everybody has something to offer to the world, and if you want to discover what is, in my opinion, the best way to make $10,000 per month online, then check out this video next to me right here. It shows the method step by step, and it shows me actually doing it in front of you. So I'm not just talking about it, I actually demonstrate it in front of you. So check it out, and I will see you there. Did you click the video yet? It's right here. Click it, check it out, and I'll see you there right now, hopefully. Take care, everybody. My name is Matt Parr, and I'll see you within this video.